Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here. Today I want to talk about MIDI recording and editing. Just a brief intro as to what that's about. Now, in the old days, and even today, the typical way that audio is recorded with a keyboard or piano or whatever is with a microphone, and you're recording to some kind of recording device, whether it's the old fashioned reel to reel or cassette or CD, or if you're using an iPhone or an Android phone or whatever, the idea is all the same. You're using a microphone, and whatever you're playing, that recording, that performance is going to be captured exactly the way you're playing it. So when you play it back, any mistakes that you make are going to be there. Now, when you're using recording software to record with audio, and over here is a typical stage piano, and it has audio outputs, line outputs that is, and you can feed those line outputs into any recording device, in this case a computer. And if you look at this sequencing software, which is also called a DAW, D-A-W, Digital Audio Workstation, I can arm an audio track here and start recording. Let's do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and make a mistake on purpose. Okay, so that's recorded, and it's recorded with the mistakes, so that when I go and play that back, that mistake is recorded. And it's pretty hard to change it. Yes, I know you can change it with something called punch in, punch out, but unless you really know what you're doing or have the help of somebody that is a studio person and knows what they're doing, it's not going to sound quite right. Now, if you're going to do audio recording and you're really good at your craft and you can play the piano like nobody else and you can get all your takes done, the first performance or maybe the second, great. But not everybody is like that. And for those piano aficionados that, think that if you can't get it right the first time, and if you're using MIDI to be able to change your performance and fix incorrect notes, they think you're cheating. Well, it doesn't matter. The result is what you want. Now, here's how you do it with MIDI. First of all, let's delete this audio recording. Now, MIDI, on the other hand, does not record any kind of audio at all. What it records instead is your movements, what you're doing, what keys you're hitting, how hard you're hitting or soft you're hitting those keys, what controls and knobs and sliders and buttons that you're doing, your sustain pedal, how your foot is on that pedal, when it's on, when it's off, how much is it, all that kind of stuff. It does not record sound, it records keystrokes, basically, for simplicity's sake. So, let me just show you by example. I've got a MIDI track over here armed. Let's record that and see what we get. Okay, so just by watching this recording, you can see that the left hand went lower and the right hand went higher on the keyboard. These are the actual MIDI notes. These are the actual keys that I was hitting. It records the keys, not the sounds. And over here, if you recall at the end, I held those keys longer, and that's what this is showing right here. So when I go and I play this back, it's taking those MIDI notes that I have played, or the keys rather, the actions that I've done, and it's feeding them right back into this keyboard. just as though I'm playing here, except it's stored it and it's feeding those back into this unit, and this unit is playing what that is sending it. It's the same thing as me playing the keyboard. I just recorded my keyboard strokes. Okay? All right. Now, let's show you where this comes in with something really simple. And it doesn't have to be simple. It can be really complex. The concept is still the same. Let's record something like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Okay, let's stop that recording. You'll notice that I have 2 mistakes in there, and now we need to fix those mistakes. With MIDI, it's really easy to do. So here's the overview on how you do that. And if you're using a DAW or a sequencer that has a MIDI capability for recording and editing, it's going to look something like this. Let's double click over here, and let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, now over here on the left you see a piano keyboard. These are the keys, and all of these blue things here are where you hit a note and what key it represents on where you hit that note. So when we go and play that back, so we see there's a mistake here. Okay. We see right here is where the mistake is. And if you look at this right here and go to the corresponding key, we see that it's a C sharp instead of a C. So let's bring this down and make it a C instead. Okay, that's fixed. Okay. You heard that second one over there? Right there. Right there. That's an F sharp instead of a G. So we're going to take that and just move it up. See how easy that was to correct that? So let's go back to the beginning, play the whole thing. Now it's going to sound perfect. I see an extraneous note here. Let's get rid of that. Let's see what that sounds like. Good. Okay, so that's an introduction to how you fix mistakes with MIDI. And it doesn't have to be one or two. You can do some complex classical piece if you want. And if you make a mistake, it's the same principle. You just take that mistake and you move it to what the right note should be. If you hit a note by accident, you just take that note, highlight it, and voila, delete it. Now, if you meant to hold that note longer than it is, you just make it longer. Let's show you by example. Did you hear that? So there's a lot of things that you can do with a MIDI editor. And this is just a very brief introduction as to what you can do with that. Hope this has been of help to you. Piano Man Chuck, peace out. Thanks for watching.